Welcome back, World of Warcraft fans, to another episode of Casual Encounters. This is episode 12.1. It's my World of Warcraft show, and the world is panicking. The World of Warcraft, anyway, is panicking. They got all these alpha notes. They're all freaking out. So, as you know, last week, I did some videos. I did 3 videos regarding the changes to what we know, all the alpha patch notes to Warlords of Draenor. I gave I did a general description of everything and little changes or whatever. And just to sort of give an overview, I kind of went into a little more detailing, I guess, with some of the, stuff that was removed and stuff like that. I went into the talents a little bit. So I kind of went through everything. I watched the Convert to Raid interview with Celestalon and Zaram. And, so that, and it was really, really good. It was really, really cool to hear, what they had to say about a lot of stuff. It just freaks me out, though. So the reaction that people have. I go on the forums just to look at what people are saying, just to see if anybody's got any, legitimate concerns or whatever. And because that's kind of like, if anybody's been watching me from the beginning, they know I'm more of a quality of life person, and I kind of like to look at how the game, how fun the game is from a casual player's perspective. And and sometimes I just read what the forum people are saying, and I'm like, do you even understand what's happening? It's like these gut reactions that people have are just crazy. I'll start with the stat squish. I was looking at the forums, and it was like this endless stream of people just saying this is a terrible idea. I mean, yes, there are the people, of course, that correct them and all. It's great, super. I'm glad that there's people on the forums who do have a head on their shoulders, because I mean, one guy was even like, this is the worst thing Blizzard ever did, and I'm now going to quit the game. So, a guy, now whether he will or not, I don't know. Maybe he's just being dramatic. But still, there's zero, and if anybody doesn't understand this, zero gameplay. It will change absolutely nothing in the way the game is going to be played. Nothing. Nothing at all. The only difference is the numbers you see on your screen are going to be smaller than they were before. That's it. Percentage-wise, everything is the same. If you were hitting a boss that had... now, I'm going to use some silly examples. Not silly examples, just random, really easy numbers. These numbers are not real by any fact. You're hitting something with, let's say, 100,000. No, that's not a good idea. 1,000,000 health, and you hit it now for 100,000, right? You are hitting it for 10% of its health. With the stat squish, the boss will have only 100,000 health, and you'll hit it for 10,000. And you will still be hitting the boss for 10% of his health. That's it. Nothing's changing. Don't panic. Just don't panic. I've said this before. It makes no difference. It's just a numbers thing. Now, whether it's true or not, that the computers can't handle it, it's irrelevant. They wanted to make this change. I think it's just going to be easier than having these big numbers, make the numbers a little smaller, easier to look at, easier to handle. That's it, man. That's all. That's it. So, yeah. And people were saying, well, if you flatten, because, what happened, right, is during its expansion, during the tier changes, there were these huge bumps in power. That's where a lot of it took place. So they flatten them out. So now people are like, yeah, but so if you flatten them out now, if you don't have the exponential curve of power that we had, how it's mathematically impossible to do old raid content. Well, maybe if they just left it at that, but that's not what they're doing. They've told us, they came right out and said that this was not going to be a problem. If you could kill a frog in 5 seconds, you're still going to kill it in 5 seconds. If you soloed Onyxia, you're still going to be able to solo Onyxia. Doesn't matter. They're going to put in something. So if because of this flat thing that they did, this flattening of stats, would normally prevent you from killing a raid boss solo, then they're going to put something in that raid dungeon, some kind of debuff, some kind of something from your level, whatever the case, because you are a certain level, you're going to get this increase of power or whatever. Now, if they don't make sure that this happens, yes, Blizzard will have to answer for that. And yes, that is going to be a big problem for some people. They said they weren't going to let that happen. So for now, we have to take their word for it. Stop panicking about it. If they do mess it up, then hopefully they'll find a way to fix it. And if they ever say, well, too much work to fix it, what can I tell you? When you hit level 100 and you exponentially grow, you will be able to do it then anyway. So, whatever. It doesn't matter. Makes no difference. So yeah, that's on that. Hit and expertise removal. I don't think too many people were really complaining, other than the whole, dumbing down, blah 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 blah. But come on, it's just they're just annoying gear stats to have to deal with, right? Because okay, I got to get my hit up to 15%. I got to get my, or I got to get it up to 7.5 and then bring my expertise up to 15. It's just an annoying thing because you have to get those things up to get to a point where you will hit the boss all the time, and then, then you can actually start getting your stats that you actually want that will, do damage. So it just seems good. You know what? There's a lot of stuff that was from vanilla in BC, whatever, and stuff that they've added to take away. There's so much more to deal with now that this is not a time sink or a something. They can do more fun things now. They have more content. They have, whatever. So, you getting rid of something like this is nothing. Retuning the healing spells. Of course, people are so worried, panicking about cataclysm type healing, and they've explained it quite clearly. If yes, we want to take the parts of cataclysm healing that made you worry about your mana, but not the part that was almost impossible to deal with, especially at the beginning. Because I remember, man, the first time I tried, especially after Wrath, I went in and I tried to heal something. I did like 2 heals or 3 heals, and I was out of mana. I was like, what the heck? Because I just wasn't used to it. I had to change the way I healed. I had to use my nourish spell. But people didn't die super fast. So this is what they're trying to do, right? So they want to take that cool sort of, thing where you don't have to be like, oh, boom, oh god, I have to heal the guy, boom, 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 bring them all up, and then have all this overhealing done and all that stuff. So that's just the way. I mean, but what they're doing is they're bringing the mana regeneration up, they're bringing base mana up, or whatever. They're tuning all that, and hopefully they'll get it right. Again, these are changes, man, and now with the alpha and the beta, whatever, hopefully they'll get it to where they want it to be, and everything will be good. I kind of like the idea of being able to see what's going on with the tanks and all the raid, and then just okay, this person is at this much, okay, he's all right, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be like, oh, everybody get ready to full all the time. Someone, oh, he's almost dead, and before you even have a chance to react, someone's dead because you literally didn't even have time to hit another button before he died. You know what I mean? Like, come on, that's okay. Maybe the guy's starting to fire too long. I don't know, but whatever the case, and yes, if you use too many, of course, if you use your inefficient big heals all the time, you will run out of mana. But that's the thing, you're gonna have to just take it easy. You're gonna have to make a choice. You're gonna make a decision as to which spell you're gonna use. It's not gonna be, because right now I find healing, and I have a resto druid, and I find you're doing you're practically doing a rotation, just like you are with DPS. You're sitting there going, okay, hit this, have this up all the time, just keep this going, hit the wild growth, keep the thing up, oops, someone, the whole raid's going down really fast, pop Swiftman, swap this, the mushroom, boom, 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 everything, tranquility, boom, no, everything's going to have to be timed, and, you're going to, it's good, I think it's going to be really good. Again, you got to get it right. And if they got to make sure that mana's okay at the beginning, otherwise, and they're going to want to keep that to the end. So it's not going to, your mana isn't always going to, I mean, it'll improve, but it's not going to be like these days where it's like, oh, at the beginning the mana's crap, but at the end the mana doesn't matter. No, it's going to be a little more even all the way through. Of course it's going to be easier. It's going to get better because you're getting better gear. But instead of having more mana, you're going to have better spells. Your spells are going to work better, apparently. So that's cool. Ability pruning, oh my god. That's where the real panic sets in, right? Everybody's worried about all their spells and shots and hits and their different stuff disappearing. Dumbing down the game. All the different things. Oh my god, I'm going to be nerfed. Why are you nerfing me? No. No, dude, did you read the entire thing? Did you see that did you not see that every class was having this done to them? Do you not realize that Blizzard is going to take into these things when they're doing encounters? All that stuff. It's just like everything else. This stuff, it's, as long as they balance everything and make it a feasible thing to work with, it's not going to matter. Look, there's always changes in the game, and I think that's kind of what keeps it fresh in a way. You kind of have to learn to play all the time. That you have that leveling up process where you learn to do all your stuff, and you learn to play properly, and then you hit, or maybe you don't learn to play properly, but then you may, once you level up, you get to max level, and then then you go, what do? You go onto Icy Veins or something and learn your best rotation or the best way to do it or whatever. You look at everybody's stuff, and then you really learn how to play the game. And everyone's going to have a good way. Everyone's going to learn how to do it right. If it was the same stagnant thing all the time, I don't know, man. It might be boring if it was always the same. So think about it that way, And plus, I just think there's too many damn buttons. And I said that before. I'd rather be worrying about the fight, the mechanics of the fight, and it's bad enough. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there just like me. Maybe their reaction time is you already have a bit of a disadvantage because maybe your reflexes just aren't as quick. And it's compounded by the fact that you're trying to figure out where the heck your spell is on the keyboard because there's just, or you're trying to find it in your action bar or whatever. Yeah, sure, I got, my main ones all 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever. But still, there's always that other one you're looking for, and get rid of some. The less I have to worry about, the better. Great. Um, the buffs and debuffs, I didn't see too much about panic about it or whatever. Great. I think it's just a really good idea. All that stuff that you're doing with the buffs and debuffs, getting just being whatever, the mage one, just there. Uh, Spreading them out a little more, making sure that everybody has it. And as for the tank, Vengeance and Resolve, great stuff. I kind of like the idea that you're going to have more of a steady DPS other than all over the place, and have that gameplay of, oh, I'm going to take more damage. Because right now the tanks are just taking all kinds of damage so that they can get more DPS, and the healers are trying to keep them up, which is crazy. It's cool. It's a cool thing. Don't get me wrong. It's a cool mechanic, but whatever. And I think it's just going to be. I think they said their tank should have around a 75% DPS level compared to DPS classes, their specs. So that's. I think that's really cool, and more mitigation. You're as a tank, that's gonna be your job. Mitigate. Your job, aggro, mitigate, and aggro isn't really a huge problem. So at least not with tunes that are your own eye level and stuff. It shouldn't be a big problem. There's always going to be some maybe here and there when there's lots of mobs and stuff, but generally speaking, they kind of fixed that aggro problem a long time ago. That used to be the job of the tank, was to keep aggro. That was the focus. Aggro. Make sure you have everything, and the healer kept you alive. You had enough stuff to keep you alive. Now it's, well, the aggro's not so bad. Okay, so, and don't worry about DPS. DPS is just going to be there. If you do your mitigation, all that stuff, you're going to have your mitigation. You're just going to have your DPS. Another thing I like about it is that I think it's going to be a heck of a lot easier when you're trying to solo stuff as a tank, because yeah, sure, in the raid you're getting all kinds of nice damage because you're getting hit and you're getting damage, but when you're just going up against regular little mobs and stuff, you don't take that much damage, so you're not really getting a whole lot. Then it's so long to kill stuff if you're depending on your vengeance for damage. So I think it's really, really good. Okay, primary stats and attack power. Oh yeah, right. So I think that's pretty cool too. I mean, that's just forget about spell, attack power, and spell, haste, and attack. Yeah, just haste is haste, and blah blah blah. There was a lot more detail about that, but again, that's just a real technical thing. That's stuff that, again, it's just changes to the game that just makes it less annoying and stuff like that. So again, health and resilience is another thing. It's just another balancing act. No need to panic about health and resilience. It's all going to be balanced out. It's all encounter design. The health is for the healing retuning, and the resilience is for the PvP retuning and all that stuff. The racial traits, of course, people were probably freaking out about this, because they all picked orcs and trolls because they wanted their berserker rage and they wanted blood rage and all kinds of whatever it was. Yeah, now guess what? You're not going to have that. You're going to have, you still might have a little bit, but, at least they're evening it out. Let's just make, I think I mentioned that last time. But, this is really good. I totally get it. I think if I was someone who specifically maybe chose an orc, and I didn't really like orcs, so maybe I didn't like an orc, but I chose it specifically for its racial ability, its racial trait. I can probably, for that alone, I can kind of see, maybe people would be a little upset about it. Say, hey man, I picked an orc for that. I didn't even want an orc, and now I got to, if I want to choose a different race, I have to pay for a racial transfer, which is, it's not cool. I kind of get that, but you know what? If we keep it there, then everybody's gonna pick orcs or trolls or whatever, or humans, just for its racial stripe. You should be choosing because you like it. You like the story, maybe you like the way it looks, you like the way it sounds, you like being a little you know, dwarf with the Scottish accent or whatever, or you like being a super sexy, you know, bubble-butted Draenei or whatever, or whatever, you know, whatever. You should just choose it because you like it. Crowd control, diminishing returns. You know, that's I don't think there were a lot of people. There were people complaining about it. All the people who, um, you know, basically just like to CC people and kill them, you know, without action. So yeah. So basically, they would get really good at doing CC. That was their game style. But that's game style is not fun for the people on the other end. So they wanted to make people play more during PvP. So yes, of course, people are going to panic about it. People who are panicked, like I said, are going to be those people whose gameplay depended on CCs. They got to learn a new way now. That's all. Just learn. Just learn a different way. You're going to have a different challenge now. So screen disappeared. How rude. Anyway. Oh well. Instant cast heals. Again, that kind of all goes with the retuning of healing and also the less instant cast overall to make movement more. Of course, people were panicking. Oh my god, I'm not going to be... How am I going to be able to do any damage if I can't do... Well, because they're going to change it. They're going to change the mechanics of the fights to give you that time to cast. They're going to make it so that, you know, these things people just panic about. It's just a different way to play. That's all it is. That's all it is. The quality of life stuff, the facing requirements, again, just another neat little thing that you can do. You won't have to be behind the boss to, you know, do all your damage. The only thing is you'll get a 3% penalty or something in parry chance or something if you're not behind the boss. So you're still going to want to be behind the boss for that little 3%, but you won't have to be. That's the way that gives the, I guess it gives the design team a little more flexibility in their design encounter as well, to have people moving around the boss or whatever, or different places. It gives melee a chance too, for when they're you know, because they're always moving around or whatever, to, you know, let them hit a little more often. And if they're in front, well, they'll just have that little 3% parry penalty. So yeah, again, just another way to play. Just another little trick, cool thing to have. Resurrection mana costs, who cares? That's all I gotta say about that. Who cares? Professions, yeah, professions is an interesting thing because they're totally taking away the bonus, the raid bonuses, right? Or, well, combat bonuses, I should say, in general. So that's, you gotta wonder, like, what's people who make who do professions. I mean, I think a lot of people might just stop, because and it's okay, you know, if they want to focus on other stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of other things to do in the game now. I mean, they've added the pet battles, they've added this, so I guess it makes it one less things you really have to do. But at the same time, they're adding in this garrison thing, and I don't know how that's going to play out, because I heard somewhere that garrisons were going to have some kind of thing, benefit of some kind to raiding, but I don't know what it is. It was really vague and whatever, so I'm not really sure. But professions is a really interesting thing. It really, I don't know. Like, I think the professions are really going to take a hit. I just have a funny feeling, unless they're really tied in with the garrisons and people really want to do them. You know, yeah, maybe, and you know, if people want to make money with them, there's some weird things going on, like, you know, learning glyphs automatically. Kind of makes me wonder how the heck the inscriptionists, you know, and you know, so the inscriptionists, they're having people, I mean, maybe there's gonna be some better ones. I like to think maybe some max level stuff that maybe you want to change out after that they can sell. You know, and if I remember correctly, they're taking away the shoulder enchant from inscriptionists as well. That one I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I heard that. So, you know, it's like, what are they going to do for inscriptionists? Hopefully they'll come up with something cool for them to do. I really want professions to especially like the leatherworking, the blacksmithing, tailoring, anything that, like, pretty much anything, any profession really, should have something that as the tiers go on, you learn something new and it's useful right to the end. Because, I mean, yeah, it's not everybody has that, you know. So let's hope they do it, you know. Let's hope they do that. I mean, that's all I can say. Especially now, like I said, with enchanters and stuff. And I think I mentioned this when we first heard about this whole, you know, less gemming and enchanting and all that stuff. They got to give these professions something to make their money on, right? If there's going to be less of them. So, yeah. So don't panic, people. It's most of the stuff that you're hearing about. It's pretty much all just changes of gameplay, technical stuff, mechanical stuff. You'll just have to learn a new way to play. No one's getting nerfed. You not individually. It's like a mass nerf. So don't worry about it. Everything is getting nerfed. The whole world is getting nerfed. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay? It's not a real nerf. It's just the numbers that you see. You'll have a few less spells to worry about. You might have a few less macros to make. Great. Less work, less crap to deal with. That's awesome. Because it gives you more time to do the fun stuff. Yeah, there's and class changes, forget it. I'm not even going there. There's a million class changes. Those, go see them, and don't panic when you read them. They're just changes. They're changes. They're removing. Everybody's getting changes and removing. And of course, and everybody who just reads their class and don't think about all the things that they're trying to do, the changes that they're trying to make, you're gonna freak out, man. You're gonna panic if you just read your thing and nothing else, and you don't take into all the philosophies of what they're trying to do in the game. So don't panic. Don't. It's bad for you. Give you a heart attack, man. Well, at least if you're, you know, old like me. But maybe young people will be, you know, better. But, you know. Anyway, so don't panic. Go read your class stuff. And again, you're gonna learn to get the best out of what your class is. But there's nothing to panic about. And don't forget, all these changes. I mean, they even, you know what? Look, when they took away the Army of the Dead from everybody, except for Blood, everybody freaked, and they're like, oh, and now, you know what? They're rethinking about it. They're rethinking to take away, because it's one of those iconic things about a Death Knight. So I think they might get back. Now, it's still going to be reduced to hell, but it's still a cool thing. Army of the Dead is cool. It's just cool. Don't take away cool stuff. I agree with that. Don't take cool stuff away. If it's too strong, they bring it down. Then that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring Army of the Dead. They're going to bring it down. And that's it. And there's going to be instant cast, too, so you won't get interrupted. There you go. So that's cool. Anyway, this thing is like probably one of the longest ones I've had so far. So all I want to say like I said, this whole thing, man, just don't panic. It's all good, man. It's all good. Let's wait and see what happens. If anything is really, really bad, they'll change it. They'll fix it. There's alpha testing to go through. They're going to find all kinds of stuff they need to fix in there. Beta's going to come. They're going to find all kinds of crap to fix in there. There's going to be all kinds of changes. Everything should work well. And if anything bad makes it alive, they'll fix it. They'll just fix it, man. Let's hope. Unless, of course, like in Mist, they never fix Warlocks. They're just too strong. They're just OP. So, yeah. Have fun playing World of Warcraft, guys. Take care.